Hey guys, it's Paul Romero out in Los Angeles. I hope you guys are safe and healthy. And I thought I would make a couple of videos just talking about some old soundtracks from Heroes. And one of them is the Heroes 4 soundtrack. I've had a lot of questions on that particular game, largely due to the Celtic library that we used for some of the Celtic themes, like the sea theme and stuff like that. But one of my favorites is the opening. I like this part a lot. One of the things I like about it is that it oscillates between light and dark with the minor chords. I like that. I learned this from Richard Strauss. Richard Strauss did this in that was the inspiration for the main theme for Heroes 4. Let's see something else. Let's talk about Haven. That one was inspired by one of my dad's favorite songs, September in the Rain. Called Dinah Washington and listen to the song called September in the Rain. As far as the next part, I think it was Beethoven. Cycle of doing the melody here, then go higher, and then go higher. Like Mozart did that. another song that I love called I think it's Song Time. Oh, from West Side Story. There's a place for us, someday a place for us. Music boy and old man, away from us and it's called Somewhere from West Side Story by Stephen Sondheim and Leonard Bernstein. I love Leonard Bernstein because Leonard and I went to the same school, which is not at the same time, because obviously I'm not 4,000 years old, but we both attended the Curtis Institute of Music in Philadelphia. I think Leonard Bernstein went in the late 40s or early 50s, and I studied there in the mid 80s. And the wonderful thing about the Curtis Institute of Music is that it was founded by Mary Curtis Bach, B-A-K. She was an American millionairess. Her family owned a bunch of huge American newspapers back in like the 1910s and 20s. One of them was the Washington Post. So back then there was only a few, just a few national newspapers in the United States. And so whatever ones that existed were absolutely huge. So she owned the Washington Post. She married a great Russian violinist, Ephraim Zimbalist, and they were, I think this is like in the 1920s. And at that time, the Russian Revolution was happening or had happened, and there were a lot of great, really famous Russian musicians who had no work in Russia. The country was devastated, as I'm sure most of you know. And so Ephraim, the husband, said, "Oh my God, all my friends have no jobs in Russia. There's no concerts, there's no opportunities. They're becoming very poor. They don't know what to do." So she said, "Why don't you have all your friends come to America? Have them come to Philadelphia. I'm going to buy a beautiful mansion on Rittenhouse Square, which is a very, very expensive area of Philadelphia. It's sort of like the Beverly Hills of Philadelphia." And so she bought this beautiful mansion right on the corner of Rittenhouse Square, and she turned all the beautiful rooms, the bedrooms, the ballrooms, the kitchen area, the living room, she turned it into a music conservatory, and she brought all these great Russian musicians from Russia to come live in Philadelphia, and she was going to pay them full time to become professors. So she decided, she wanted some American classical musicians to be exposed to the great Russian school of music and training. So she started auditioning American students all the way across America to become students at the school. And if you were accepted, you didn't pay any tuition at all. All she wanted to find talent. Whether you were poor, whether you were rich, whether you were middle class, it didn't matter. As long as you had talent for classical music, they would take you at the school. So the first class, I think there was like 20, 25, 30 students from across America, and ever since the school opened in the 1920s, nobody in the history of school has ever paid tuition. So currently, there's like a student body of 150. I think they accept about 30 new students a year. There is a huge faculty for private lessons, conducting, orchestra, theory, solfege, harmony, opera. You name every instrument of the orchestra, from all the way from the piccolo to the harp, all the way to the double bass to an entire opera program there. So we have a big faculty and about 150 students, and nobody pays anything. And I think in the history of the entire school, they have only graduated about under 4,000 students in the history of the school, because only about maybe 30, 35 students a year graduate from the Curtis Institute of Music. Anyway, Leonard Bernstein went there, and I've always loved that piece of music called Somewhere, and this tune from Heroes has a flavor of Somewhere, and also the Beethoven Emperor Concerto, and also the Mozart Piano Concerto. I take it from many different influences. So let's see what else we can listen to. Sorry, that was a really long story. So on these pieces that have like a guitar, we used a library that was called the Celtic Library, and it included pre-recorded guitar chords on like a Celtic guitar. It had a lot of woodwinds, it had a lot of Celtic violins, and you could choose like little parts like that would go, and then stick it onto the music of it. Push a button. Push the button. Another one. And it had a beautiful Celtic feel. And so I used that a lot in the soundtrack because we needed to create a feeling of kind of like the Highlands of Ireland, or in England, the coast of England that has a beautiful cliffs and the little cottages, and it looks like it's a perfect place for dragons and things like that. Unfortunately, when that library came out, it was so good that many composers all over the world bought it and started using it in their soundtrack. So there's a period of time where a lot of us have music that sounds very similar, and I've gotten a lot of emails and letters wondering why that is. So the reason why that is because all of us fell in love with the same library. It's like falling in love with the same pair of glasses. And you think they're custom glasses, but all of a sudden they appear in every store, and everybody is wearing these glasses. And so it's a good thing for us because we have great sounds that we can use in our music to add flavor. On the other side, it's a bad thing because so many of us composers are using the same thing that we create like a similar feeling in our music. So ever since then, we try not to use those type of libraries because they sound good, but then you realize somebody else is going to have a very similar sound. So we try to, ever since then, do only music that we are doing all of the instrumentation. But that's why that music has a very particular feel. But it sounds nice. I like it, actually. Let's see what else we have. We have Water. There's another one of those.